All right. So I'm here today with,
Chris Patakis, hello.
yep. And so I have to do this interviewing with an entrepreneur, and I thought that you were like a super cool guy. I love your whole demeanor and how you are with the kids, and I've seen your business just blossom over
It's been great. Yeah.
like a few months, and I was thinking that you would be the perfect person to talk to
Well, I
to have
appreciate
this
it. I'm
little
excited to talk.
interview.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we can just get into it.
Let's do it.
All right. So my first question is, when and how did you get involved in this work?
So I graduated college like 10 years ago and was really bored. And a week after graduation, I took an intro class in jiu-jitsu. And I realized like this was it. This is all I want to do with my life.
Oh, wow.
So then, much to the chagrin of my parents, I decided not to go down the route of exercise science and just pursue this full time. And I'm very grateful. Yes, that was 2008 I began.
Oh, wow. Nice. That's interesting. So what was your training and background other than just like that first class that you had that interested you?
That was it.
That was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I graduated college and I felt like I was still a boy, like you're out in the real world,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel like I was ready for the real world yet. And I guess I was looking for an environment that would challenge me to grow a lot.
Nice.
And I tried an intro class and realized like, this is a really hard problem to solve. I want to try to solve it.
Nice.
And then chose jiu-jitsu.
Okay, so going off book here, just building off of what you just told me,
Please.
was your physical ability at that time the level of a jiu-jitsu coach, or did you have to work really hard at it?
I guess it was kind of, so I played football and I got to college and got hurt and couldn't play football anymore. So I just lifted and did nothing else. So by the time I graduated, I was like 230 and just like a big mass.
Yeah.
Like a lot of muscle but a lot of fat. And then I started jiu-jitsu, so say about 230. And then like a year later, I probably lost 60, 70 pounds over that first year through just jiu-jitsu, nothing else.
Oh, wow.
So I think I wasn't in the best shape, but I was in good mental shape to work and grow.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was your area of study in college?
Exercise science.
Oh,
so
nice. So is it correlate?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I was a strength coach part-time until I could do this full-time.
Oh, nice. Okay. So how did you know, other than like having that desire to solve a problem, what else? What other factors did you use to know that this is what you wanted to do?
It's a great question. So I began because I didn't like that there were people, I don't know how to say this, say like less moral than I was who could hurt me. I didn't like that idea. So I started for self-defense, and then I really liked trying to solve the problems. It's so complex, and it goes down so many rabbit holes. It's infinite. So I intellectually really liked exploring that. And then I love the community. It's kind of the camaraderie I haven't had since like high school football.
Yeah.
So I had that with the guys, and that was great. And then when I got to teach, it became a vehicle to serve people. And that's when I fell in love, because I always wanted to, use my life in the service of others, but I didn't have a medium.
Yes.
And then I found out that this could be the medium. So that's when it really like clicked. Yeah.
I love that. You're just blowing away all my questions with your answers here. Okay, so just going a little bit to the industry that you're in, what type of projections do you have for this industry? Is it like stable? Is it growing? Do you think it's going to become stagnant at any point?
I should be the person to answer that. I'm probably not, though. It seems like more and more jiu-jitsu schools are popping up, and there's a martial arts school in every town. I think the popularization of the UFC has helped, because now everyone knows what it is, or at least has an idea what it is.
Yeah.
As far as where the business is projecting, I don't know. I don't know what the economic landscape is going to look like. If it's certainly not recession proof, but there will always be, as most jobs become automated, there's always going to be people. And people will always need to know how to defend themselves from other people.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a place for it, I think, no matter what the economy would be. Yeah. But I'm curious to see how it turns out. Hopefully well.
Awesome. So you're open to being adaptable, to changing the business as it comes.
Yeah, absolutely. I imagine any business that doesn't adapt probably won't survive too long. As the environment changes, I think you have to change with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what have been your biggest obstacles in actually getting your physical business on the road?
The biggest obstacle was actually getting the building.
Okay.
This was a long road. So Trevor and I decided we want to do this. I don't even know the timetable. Say it was like the winter of 2016. And then I remember coming here in a snowstorm. So say it was like January 2017, and this place was open. We wanted it. We were like, let's go for it. So we contacted the management company, and this place was stuck in purgatory because there's apparently some weird rule. If you don't have a floor, you don't have to pay rent.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, you don't have to pay property tax. So there wasn't a floor. It was just a concrete hole in here.
I see.
And they would not sign the lease for whatever reason until I think a liquor store was like trying to move out, and they were just kind of delaying. So it was like a 9-month process to sign the lease.
I see.
So the hardest part was actually getting the building. But then once we got it, it's been pretty good from there.
Nice. And I've even seen you open up another location here. Well,
yeah, so we expanded. And just the right time. As soon as we did, it kind of filled up real fast. So.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was like just a shining moment. I was thinking at that moment when we were walking in and it getting a little bit cramped, I was like, these guys need to expand. This is their opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, so you were talking about Trevor there. So I think he is kind of like your only employee or your co-partner.
He's my partner. So Trevor and I were best friends in high school, college roommates. He is like the left half of my brain.
Okay.
Like we're one competent human being together. You know. So he's like a brother to me, and we're very, very close. So this is the first project we're doing together, and we'll do many projects.
Nice.
Our goal is we want to serve the world to the degree that we can, combining our complementary skill sets. He's all the computers and the business. I don't know any of that stuff.
Okay.
But together we're doing a lot of good stuff. So this is our first project of many things together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So other than Trevor, in this road with you, do you have any employees? Do you know?
My fiance Amber is the only one.
Okay.
So Amber's our first employee, and she's amazing. So she's doing everything from the program director side of everything at the front desk. But that's it right now, just the three of us.
So I can't say, how did you find employees? That kind of just found a relationship, and then you found an employee.
I met Trevor in high school, and I met Amber teaching a seminar at her teacher's school. Okay. And then we connected through that.
Nice. So you let your emotions guide you for that one. That's
absolutely.
good.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. What do you like the most about this job, being able, well, not just jiu-jitsu, but what do you like most about your entity that you have here?
The people.
Awesome. Yeah. Making connections.
Yeah. I think, jiu-jitsu is amazing. I've devoted my life to it. Mm-hmm. But when it's all said and done, I think we'll realize that the relationships we built here are the most important thing. And having like a community, a little town hall. And that's what I hope this place will become, for this area. But definitely the people.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anything that you dislike about it?
Anything I dislike about it? I dislike the hours of the day it is. I would love to be up at 4 a.m. and in bed by 8.
Yeah.
But because everyone works during the day, the hours start at 5 and they go to like 9. Yeah. If I could shift that up from like 3 till 7, that'd be perfect.
Magically get like every other industry to work around you.
Right? That would be nice. That would be the only thing, is I don't get to pursue my optimal circadian rhythm, I guess.
I see.
But I love all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's not such a bad,
No, that's an easy trade. Yeah.
Okay. So what talents or skills do you think are most critical to be successful in this type of work?
That's great. So I guess you have to have skill set, right? You have to have like a credible pedigree of knowledge that you can give to people.
Yeah.
And then I think you have to have people skills. I think that's incredibly undervalued and discussed. And then I guess some kind of wherewithal with business, and that's where Trevor comes in. I don't have any of that.
Yeah.
But I guess it would be people, because it's so much, when you're building a community, there are so many unseen like ties and weird connections and exchanges happening. I think you have to have a pretty high emotional intelligence to navigate a community of people. And I think that's something, if I look at like my other friends who've opened up schools and have done a really good job, they have that.
Yeah.
And I think that is sort of something I don't know if you can teach it, but it's paramount to building a community. I think that's the big one.
I love that. And I actually love that you mentioned emotional intelligence, because that's something that we have been working around learning. And,
awesome.
We've been reading from great books to develop that emotional intelligence. So one of the questions that I wanted to build off of that was, are you an avid reader, and what type of books you read? Well, I can't really say are you, because I follow you. I follow your quotes and stuff, and I think it's really inspirational. It's one of the reasons I chose to interview you.
That's awesome.
So I guess we can skip that part and just go to what really is the focus of your reading.
That's a great question. So yeah, I love reading, and I will read over breakfast any day. Um, right now, I'm studying phenomenology, which is the study of being a subjective being.
Yes.
In a kind of roundabout way. So I've fallen in love with Jordan Peterson. There's a lot of mixed feelings about him, but from the standpoint of just mythology and how to act in the world, I think he has a better education than anyone else talking right now, from the humanities, from literature, philosophy, religion, mythology, all the way down. And through him, I became a big fan of Carl Jung. So I've been reading a lot of his stuff, and then his student, Eric Neumann. And when I read Carl Jung, it's like, when I read it, it's eye-opening. It's like, this is what humanity's been doing the whole time. And I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
We talks a lot about the unconscious and the purpose religion serves in our lives and what personal development actually is. And right now I'm heavy Carl Jung focused. I tend to go in like blocks where I'll just pick something and then I'll study it until I can't study it anymore, or I run out of stuff, then I'll move on. Right now it's Carl Jung.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned religion do you have like a defined religious belief, and do you incorporate that into any of your businesses?
It's an amazing question. I think that's a much longer conversation.
Yeah.
Which I would love to have.
Yes.
The short one would be, I guess I very much identify with the Christian religion in the sense of the archetype of Christ as being the best mode of behavior I can embody, to voluntarily hold on to the biggest cross and burden you can in the service of other people. And
Awesome.
Christ being like the most Western common representation of that. And I think that's been communicated through a lot of religions over time, and it's become the most explicit in Christianity. Mm-hmm. And I would guess you could say all of our business ventures will be influenced by that, in the sense of Trevor and I want to adopt as much responsibility as possible to provide as much value as possible. So that would be kind of like the guiding modus operandi behind the work, though we may not be doing anything explicitly religious.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So, well, I won't go into what in your life inspires you, because I think you've just expounded enough on, on that. So like with your customers, what attitudes or values do you find most valuing to your, like most attracting to your entity? Like, what do you look for in your customers? Is there anyone that you would find that you wouldn't want to work with?
We've turned people away. Absolutely. Okay. So on the wall it says, where we pursue individual goals as a collective. Like, I want people like that. I want people who are genuinely aiming up for themselves or for their kids, and that want to help other people do the same thing. Okay. And we've had a few people come in the door that maybe were aiming laterally, but had no concern for other people. And I quickly realized that their goals did not align with ours, so we removed some of those people. It's always I'm always down to sacrifice one to save 10. Like, the ship is more important than any sailor, and I'll always sacrifice the growth of the business to ensure that we're growing in the right direction.
Awesome. Okay, so do you use social media for any of your marketing? Do you use LinkedIn as a...
I'm awful at social media. So one of my best friends, Pete McHugh, he's a school like 20 minutes south of here. Yeah. He is the social media master. And he, every time I see him, yells at me, why aren't you on it more? Why aren't you talking about it more?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't like being on my phone that much. So I guess I have a natural aversion to it.
I see.
We have an Instagram for the school and the Facebook. They're linked together, but I think we do an okay job with that, but we don't do anything else.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. So I think I know the answer to this, but if you were given an opportunity to choose another line of career, would you?
Would I?
Something that you knew you would have been successful at.
No, and the long answer would be Nietzsche had this really good idea that in order to be free, you have to be a slave first, that you need to channel yourself through one discipline, go down it really far, so you come out the other end and have a lot of possibilities. And I think you can kind of do that through any discipline. This discipline gave me an opportunity to suffer purposefully with a world-class instructor in an environment where I was living on friends' couches and didn't have a lot of financial needs, so I could just train 3-4 times a day. So I think I got unbelievable instruction in a really transdisciplinary medium where the things I learned in jiu-jitsu apply everywhere else. And I was able to do it for a long time with a lot of intensity. So I think this profession will allow me to do whatever other professions I do alongside this.
Oh.
Yeah. So I guess the answer is no.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So finally, what advice would you give to someone who is looking to be an entrepreneur?
You have to provide value. You have to genuinely provide value to people. I think, we all go into business in some capacity because you need money. We need money to live. Something Amber and I are realizing recently, getting an apartment together, that we need money to live.
Yeah.
But you have to provide value. And if you want to survive amongst the other businesses, you have to have like a differentiating value proposition. You need to just be able to provide value and want to do so. Like, you can provide value. Apple provides value to you. It improves your life. But when it's involved people and relationships, you have to really want to. Otherwise, motivation will take you so far. You'll get tired. You'll burn out. But like for Trevor and Amber and I, like, this isn't work. Like, we want to do it. We want to be here. So I feel pulled to be here because I want to provide value. So I think that's the biggest thing, is being able to do that and then maximizing your growth as an individual to allow you to provide more value in the future. And surround yourself with amazing teammates that can provide all the more value.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for answering all of these questions. I think you did an amazing job.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I've seen from question 1, you brought out some of the values, the core values that we have been learning about and we have been studying about. And I just think it's super awesome. I mean, you speak it, but also you live it. I have felt that with my daughter being in this institution from the minute we walked in. Like,
that's awesome.
There've been other things that she wanted to do, or my son, and we'd go into the place and you wouldn't feel welcome. Yes. Here, it's just like a family, and we love that about it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being part of the family.
All right. Thank you so much.
That was fun. Thank you very much. That was cool.